Hi everyone, and thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to do a little bit different video. I just got my new humidor, and I wanted to go through how you properly season a humidor. Now, one of the things that I enjoy is a fine glass of good whiskey, good Canadian whiskey. Paired with a quality cigar. And obviously, to keep your cigars in proper condition, you need a good humidor. This one just came in today, so I figured, you know, what better way to season it is to enjoy a nice glass of whiskey while you're doing it, and I'll share that with you. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole politics of cigars. Everybody knows they're not good for you, and you shouldn't inhale them, and all that kind of jazz. So, I mean, use your head. So that being said, this is a pretty standard cigar box, a humidor. It is it's got the hygrometer on the front, and this is basically how it came. I did order a couple of extra things, and you know, I'll kind of share what I'm doing with you folks. So it's a glass top one. Some people like the glass tops, some people don't. The reason that some people don't is because you want a very good seal on your humidor to keep a very constant humidity level, and over time they can loosen up around the glass and not form a tight seal. That said, if you keep your humidor in good condition to begin with, you shouldn't ever have that problem. So one of the things to look for, first of all, in a humidor is the fit. You can see how it's got a lip on the inside, and the lip goes on the inside of the lower part, and it should form a very good seal. And the best way to check for a good seal is the sound, really, the sound of it closing. If you drop it, it should never make a clank. It should make this sound. That tells you that it's you know, a good seal on your humidor. So let's open it up and take a look. You need to season your humidor before you start using it. The ideal humidity for most cigars is in and around the 70% range. A good rule of thumb is the 70-70 rule. 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 70% humidity, it's all good. I like it closer to around the 72%, but some people like their cigars a little bit drier, so it's really all about taste. But in and around the 70-degree range, say plus or minus 5 to 8 degrees either side. So this is the manual that it came with. Now this manual is telling you to just leave a shot glass filled with distilled water in the bottom of your humidor. That would take a really long time. So I'm going to do it the way that I've always done it, and that is the way that I'm going to show you. So I also am not a big fan of analog hygrometers. They're just really usually not accurate. So I have a digital hygrometer that I use. So underneath, everything is Spanish cedar. This is the digital one. Now, as you can see, I'm okay with my temperature. However, my humidity is way low. Digital hygrometers are very accurate. So this one's reading basically 50%, which is way too dry. Now just looking at my analog, it's saying I'm sitting at about 59%. So it's very, very off, which is why you want one of these bad boys. These are hydration packs. They're kind of a new thing. I thought I'd try them out. I haven't given them a good go yet. They're a two-way humidifier. These ones are made by Bovita, and they're supposed to regulate your humidity to 72%. You can get different percentages, and basically the way these work is you just open up the bags and leave them in your humidor. Two-way humidification means that if it's too dry, it'll obviously bring it up to a 72, but if it's over 72, it'll also pull humidity out of the humidor and regulate it both ways, plus and minus. So I thought I'd give that a try. I also have my humidifier, which just attaches in here. I've already pre-charged it. This is a bead humidifier, and they tend to work quite well. The best way to really season your humidor is basically sponging it down over the course of a couple of days. And I'm going to show you how I'd go about doing that. One thing that you have to be very wary about is putting too much water into the Spanish cedar, because it will absorb the water and it will swell, and you don't want that to happen. So you want to do it over the course of a couple days. You don't want to go crazy and like wet the whole thing down. It's, you have to be careful about it. So what I use is distilled water. It really should be distilled water, pure water, otherwise you're going to impart unwanted tastes unwanted flavors to your cigars. I personally like to use a sea sponge, rinse it out a bit with distilled water and use that. I find that new sponges that are like the plastic sponges, the polymer sponges, they have like a chemical in them that it's designed to like keep them soft, I think, but when you squeeze them in water, they create foam, and I just don't want anything not natural in my humidor. So this is the distilled water. It's very cheap. I think I paid $2 for 4 liters. So you just pour some into your little bowl with your sponge. And basically proceed to start wiping down all of the inside of your humidor. Anything that's Spanish cedar, exposed cedar, you can wipe it down. Now what I do is I squeeze out most of it. It's still very damp, but as you can see, I'm not squeezing water out easily. And then just wipe it down. It's really easy to tell where you've gotten because it changes color. Now most quality humidors are actually either lined with or made with Spanish cedar. Spanish cedar is also, if you find cedar wrapped cigars, what they wrap cigars in, just because it imparts a slight flavor, and it's a very nice aroma and flavor. So as you can see, I'm just lightly dampening the surface. Chances are you're going to pick up any like sawdust or residue left over from the manufacturing process, and that's a good thing. You're cleaning all of the unwanted things off of your your humidor. Now, one of the areas of special interest while you're doing this is the lid and this kind of lip that goes around. If it doesn't seal properly, you can add a little bit more water to that, and that will cause it to swell. In fact, even with this slight amount of water that I'm using right now, we'll probably find that it's the fitment of the lid to the base is tighter. And that's okay. It's to be expected because you're adding moisture to the wood. So now, the other thing that you want to make sure that you moisten is all of the pieces, like the separators and the tray that are going inside. You want to make sure to get all of the surfaces. Including the tops and the bottoms. Now there's different schools of thought. Some people prefer the shot glass style system. I think that's just takes way too long. And this way, you're generally going to be sitting at 70 or above in terms of humidity within 2 to 3 days. With the shot glass, you know what, I'm not even sure. I can only imagine, because I mean this wood, as you can see by that digital hygrometer, it's very, very dry. And you'll find that depending on where you are located, that your humidor is going to come quite dry. This is the tray that sits in top. Again, you want to make sure that everything that's inside has been wiped down. This is going to make it much easier to maintain a constant humidity. And it's going to season your humidor much faster. You don't need a lot of water. In fact, you don't want to use a lot of water. Just a very light wipe down. Okay. You can see that it's already soaking right into that wood. All of that moisture is soaking into the wood, and it kind of helps stabilize everything. Let's see how the lid fits now. You hear that? You can hear that it's rubbing ever so slightly now. So even just that small bit of moisture has expanded the wood enough that it's not a perfect fit so much anymore. And that's okay. Okay, so now that I've got everything moistened down, all that you have to do is take your sponge with your distilled water, put it in the bottom, and let her sit. I'm going to leave my thermometer in there, or my thermometer and hygrometer. And you leave that overnight, check it the next day. And that's really how you do it, folks. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to enjoy a couple of the finer things. Thanks for watching.